Hello, and a warm welcome to our weekly show, Love Athletics. In this program, we bring you the latest highlights from our sport with expert input from different continental areas. And we're delighted to have on our show today the amazing Jody Bayo from the Backstraight Boys.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Lovely to see you again. How are you?
Anna, we're very good. The same to you, because I remember back in the day, we used to see you all the time at all the athletics meets. You were very kind to us. And it's lovely to be reunited and to chat about everybody's favourite sport.
But we're very tired. We're very, very tired. I've had 3 hours sleep. I got to bed about 5:30 last night. But I'm up just for you. Only for you would I do this.
Oh, that's so lovely. Thank you. I know we're not looking at our freshest and best as we usually do, but it was worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a week now, hasn't it, of no sleep or random sleep, because we've been sleeping because of the time difference. We're based in London, because it's 8 hours ahead of us. So everything starts about 1 a.m. for us. So we have to have a little bit of sleep in the evening from 10 until 1, stay up to watch all the sport, and then go back to sleep around 5, whenever we can get to sleep after the excitement, and then wake up and do things like this and do some work in the day, and then have a little snooze again. So yeah, it's interesting. But this is every year, every couple of years, depending on where the championships, we're used to this.
Yeah. And you guys are actually lucky because we have a 9-hour time difference. So I'm going to sleep at 6 a.m. Right. So there's lots of other competitions going around the world, mainly age category championships, but really the focus is on the big one. It's on the world championships. So we'll be looking with Jody and Bayo at the highs and a few lows from events in Eugene. But first, let's focus on our guests. So, Jody and Bayo, you're mega fans of athletics and real experts of our sport. And they can be seen at most major events, also worked a couple world championships and Olympic games. But Jody, you told me some years ago that world championships were too important to be on site, that you had to be glued to the television and to the computer screens to check every single detail and not miss a beat. Is that still the case? I mean, I know you guys took a week off your day job.
Well, I tried to, but unfortunately, I've got a load of work on at the moment, so I'm having to juggle that as well. So the thing is with the major championships is that when you're actually at the championships, yes, it's loads of fun to be there. It's lovely. It's amazing to see the athletics live. And we've been in the stadium when Usain Bolt's broken world records. We've been to major championships. We were at Berlin, we were in Daegu, we were in Moscow, we were in Paris, we were in London. So it's not like we don't go to the world championships. It's just that when you're actually in the stadium, you miss lots of stuff.
Yeah.
You don't know who's qualified. You don't get
reaction times.
Yeah, don't get reaction times. We don't know who's
Replays.
disqualified. So all of that stuff is really important to people like us because, of course, who comes across the line first is important, but we want to know all the other stuff as well. And when you're at home, not only do you get that from the TV, but you can be on Twitter the whole time, talking with other fans, interacting, having a gossip. So that's really important part of watching it as well. Unfortunately, when it's a championships like this one, which is the time difference is so difficult for us, a lot of that is missed as well because
Yes.
I'm watching it in my bedroom and I've got neighbours and I can't be screaming. I mean, I could. I know we definitely did during the Olympics, didn't we? But it's a bit more muted when it's this kind of time difference. But obviously next year we've got Budapest, a year after we've got Paris. So I think we'll probably be at both of them. But if not, we'll be at our homes, probably be together as well. We'll probably be around each other's houses watching together.
The other thing is, at a championship, it's not just the performances on the track. There's always lots of other stuff going on. There's always some kind of drama or something happening, which you find out about when you have pundits talking or you're on the internet. When you're in a stadium, possibly with no Wi-Fi, sometimes it's really hard to catch up with everything that's going on. The amount of times I've been somewhere, taped everything at home, obviously, come home and watched it, and you find out things you didn't even know had happened. Found out things you completely missed in the stadium. So sometimes an event, it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But sometimes it's too important to actually be there because you need to actually know exactly what's going on, which you can only find out at home.
No, that's true. So guys, let's go back to where it all started. What made you fall in love with athletics?
I can't remember a time when we weren't obsessed with athletics, and I don't know why, because there's nobody in our family. My mum likes it a bit, but like it's not.
I think I do know why.
Okay.
So I think at the 1980 Olympics, our grandmother, she watched the opening ceremony on her colour television, and we only had a black and white television at the time. That's how old we are. And we had a black and white television, and our nan thought this opening ceremony was so exciting that she bought us a colour television. And I don't really remember the 1980 Olympics. I remember it a bit. I remember it being on. I don't remember the specifics, but I think that's probably where it started. Watching the 80 Olympics on a colour television for the first time, because Sorry, go on.
I vividly remember the 1982 Commonwealth Games and the 1983 World Championships.
Absolutely, that's just what I was going to say. Yeah,
we were 8 or 9 and then by 84 we watched every single thing. And I'm just looking up here because I've got athletics books up here, and I'm pretty sure I've got like guys that I probably had from the time. Look at this. So and there's lots more. There's all kinds of like, what's this one? Oh no, that's 88.
But by this time, we were cutting things out of newspapers and making scrapbooks, weren't we, and all this kind of stuff as like really young kids. So I don't ever remember not being obsessed with athletics. I think it was our 9th birthday cake.
It says there's 10 candles.
Our 10 candles. So our 10th birthday cake was in the shape of an athletics track. There's actually a picture of that somewhere.
Oh,
there we go. look, my amazing nan made that as well. So you can see there's a pole vault that she's made a pole vault. I've matched it or something. Isn't that brilliant? So we don't remember not being obsessed with athletics, and I don't know why. It's like we like sport. We're not obsessively into any other sport. I'll watch it if it's on. And a lot of sport I have no interest in whatsoever. I've never seen a football match in my entire life. But yeah, something about athletics. I think there's something for everyone. That's what I think I love about it. You know, it's like male, female, short, tall, big, small, long, short. It doesn't matter. There's something for everyone, and there's any
single country. I mean, there's 200
exactly.
countries or something.
Yeah.
So like, even if you look at the medal table already this week, there's people from Peru and Bahrain and China and like everywhere, Venezuela,
Kazakhstan or Kyrgyzstan. Yeah,
there's no other sport like that.
No.
No, definitely. I mean, there's such a range of events, countries, all body types have an event in which they can excel in athletics, which is one of the beauties of this sport.
Absolutely.
Now, let's see, who were some of the athletes that you most admired? I mean, I know you have like a huge long list, but let's look at the very, very top ones.
So if we're going back to when this all started and our obsession with athletics, I think probably the biggest person back then was Daley Thompson.
Yeah.
Like, Daley Thompson, not only he was British, he was the best, and I'd still argue the best the world's ever seen. My mum really fancied Daley Thompson, so he was a hot topping in our house. But also, he was really good fun. He was completely irreverent. There we go. And he was a massive superstar in the UK, so he was definitely one.
Also, one that's a bit more obscure. There was a British 400-meter runner in the 80s, in the early 80s, called Phil Brown. He would have got medals at the 84 Olympics and the 83 Worlds. Did they get a medal, Jody?
Yeah, 82. Yeah,
82. He was the brilliant relay runner. So you always used to give Phil Brown the baton on the last leg, and he would overtake everybody. It was so exciting to watch. And he was fine as an individual, but he really, really came alive as a relay runner. And I just very, very clearly remember watching Phil Brown so many times as a kid, like winning on the last leg of a relay. And there's a picture of us somewhere. I don't know if we've got it in an album somewhere. Of us actually meeting him. I think the first time we ever went to Crystal Palace. We queued up for ages to get lots of autographs. I think we were probably about 13 or something. So yeah, Phil Brown was kind of there's a road actually somewhere here called Phil Brown Way. We took a photo of, didn't we, Jody? You've somewhere down by you, isn't it?
It's in South London somewhere. There's Tessa Sanderson Close, and just one little estate they named them all after athletes. Of course, the Queen Merlinotti is my favourite athlete of all time. Like, no, I mean, I know she never used to win very much, but she will always be a champion in my eyes. Like the most glamorous. Oh, there she is. Like the story of Merlinotti and the drama that she put us through, like winning everything on the circuit, everything, and then coming to the championships and getting a bronze medal. And so, every championship for about a decade was all about Merlinotti, as far as we were concerned. I mean, literally all about Merlinotti. That's the only thing I cared about. Yeah. Like just an amazing woman, an amazing athlete. Nowadays, obviously, I think that she'd have lots of sports psychologists and stuff, because some of those races she should have absolutely won. But I think it was the whole drama of and the anticipation and the waiting all winter to see if she's going to finally do it. And of course, she did finally do it twice actually. But Merlinotti will always be my favourite athlete. But also look at her legacy. Without Merlin, Look at today's the Jamaican Sprint Queens now. Yeah. You directly to Merlinotti. Who else is there from back in the day? Because obviously there's lots of athletes right now who we love. You know, one I really obsessed with, and it's just from one race, and that's Paul Ireng, who won the '88 Olympics in the 800 meters. It's such an amazing race. He weaves his way in and out. And I think he'd won the NCAAs, but like apart from that, no one had ever heard of him. And he weaves his way through this field of like really superstars to win. And there's something about the way he runs, and it's only Kenyan runners who run like this. Wilson Kipketer's exactly the same. There's this lightness to them that I can't explain. They kind of float across the track. And it's not every Kenyan runner. It's only a certain few, but he's the first one that I really noticed doing that. And that's something that I look out for in athletes nowadays. When you see an athlete that you know they're going to be good.
He definitely had such a beautiful stride, and as you say, just flowing. It was really, really beautiful to watch.
Absolutely. And I think that would be one other person from the 80s who we absolutely love is Doina Malinti. Who our favourite thing in the world is to meet old athletes. So there's great athletes at the moment, which we're always pleased to bump into or interview or something. But what we really, really love is like meeting someone really obscure from the 50s or something. We'll probably come to that in a minute. That's our true passion. And our number one person we've yet to meet is Doina Malinti. So that's our plan for the next few years, is to try and track Doina down somewhere. I think back then she was one of the only Eastern Bloc athletes who used to run a lot on the yes, it's true, on the circuit, and she'd always be like have loads of gold jewelry jangling about, and like a face full of makeup. And I think she was just one of the Eastern European athletes who was actually accessible. Yes. To us back then, because a lot of them, they were quite secretive. They used to train and do whatever and then appear at the championships. But Doina we used to see all the time. And also, just like Merlin, that sort of late 80s period where she just won everything on the Diamond League, because like she won the Diamond League, I think, a couple of times, didn't she? So like 89, 90, she was just cleaning up. And then again, she didn't quite manage to translate that to the championships later. But she already had her Olympic gold, so it didn't matter.
Now, tell us some of the greatest anecdotes from your amazing life in athletics.
Our amazing life in athletics. Jody once won a medal at the Kent Championships in the 400 meters. That's about as amazing as our life in athletics actually got.
Oh, come on, Jody, meeting all these superstars and just chatting away with them. And I know there's a couple really, really cool things happened.
Well, And you know our favourite story because I think you were probably there, Anna. Bayo, you tell it though.
So this is 2009 in Berlin. So we were there. We were working with.
That one. There's another one.
There's a few. Yeah. So we were working with World Athletics. We were doing interviews for them in the mix zone. We were kind of the first people to do like the video interviews, weren't we? There was like no one else in the mix zone used to do that when we started. And we got asked to appear on a stage off in the middle of Berlin to be interviewed about us being like the world's #1 athletics fans or something. So we turned up. We were going to be interviewed by Charmaine Crooks on a stage in front of a big crowd. And we got there and we're waiting backstage and we find that we're waiting with Michael Johnson, Heike Dressler, Frankie Fredericks and Anna Kiro. That's who we were going on stage with. So embarrassed. Just like so embarrassed. Like, why are we here? So we went on stage and we got interviewed about like in athletics or something. Of course, these absolute legends, which was kind of amazing. There we go. But what was even funnier? So we left here. And we all got in a car, like all of us, so us five and like a couple of producers or something, minibus was it, to go back to the athletic stadium. Now we get pulled over by the police because there was too many people in the minibus, and we get pulled over by the police and told someone has to get out. And Heike Dressler, because we're in Germany, Heike Dressler gets out and says, "Oh, it's me, hi, it's Heike Dressler, let us go." And the police are like, "No, get out." So graciously, me and Jody got out. We said, "Listen, you take the minibus. Like you're the proper legend. You take the minibus, and we will make our own way there." But getting pulled over by the police with in that company was kind of hilarious.
Another one that I know is your favourite, Anna, is I think Bayo says you think it was in Athens at the World Cup in 2006. I'm not 100% sure where it was, but
Athens, something like that.
So before people actually knew us and we used to get accreditation to championships and stuff, we used to just go, get really drunk and gate crash everything. And because people got to know us because we were at every championships and we talked to all the athletes, people used to let us into things. So we just turn up at the after party and pretend we were supposed to be there. So we turned up at this party after, I believe it was the World Cup in 2006. And walked in as if we were supposed to be there, sat down, and then we were walking around seeing athletes, having our photos taken with athletes and stuff. And Irina Shwazinska was there, the great, great, legendary Irina Shwazinska, who not only was one of the, or if not the best female athlete of all time, was also on the IWF Council at the time. So she's really important, and she's an icon of the sport. And she's there with her husband, and he comes over to us. And we're like, oh God, we're going to be asked to leave. There's these really important people are staring at us. And he comes over and he says, "Excuse me." And we're like, "Yes." I'm thinking he's going to say, "You're not supposed to be here." And he said, "Could you come and dance with Irina?" Yay! What? So we had the honour of dancing with Irina Shwazinska at her personal invitation.
Oh my goodness.
We just thought we'd been rumbled. We were like, "Oh my God, we're going to get thrown out." And no, they wanted us to dance.
It was just so shocking because she's obviously someone we've always looked up to. She's a bit before our time, her competing. But obviously we've watched every video of her and read everything about her. So that was an amazing moment. And we always say to people, meeting someone like Irina Shwazinska for us is like meeting Elvis for someone, or Aretha Franklin or something. With people who are into music. It's that for us, it's just like meeting movie stars or pop stars. So
talking of that, just one more. In 2012, we were lucky enough to be invited to the IWF Centenary Awards. Which again we couldn't quite believe it. So we go to the dinner the night before the awards, and it's just a who's who. Literally everywhere you turn is an Olympic gold medalist, a world champion, a record holder. But we're going back to the 40s. It was there was literally people from the 40s there. It was just, you didn't know where to look. Everywhere you turned was some huge legend of the sport. We were quite drunk again. There's a theme running here, but we were quite drunk. And Jody was so excited, he just kept bowing to people. So instead of even saying hello to them, he was so fluffy, he was just like bowing to people.
But also because we got, you know how we get a bit OCD, so we had to collect up like Paula Radcliffe and Ingrid Christensen and Rosa Motor and have a photo with all three. So we'd running around collecting people. So we have a picture with what's her name? High jumper.
No, Yolanda Balash and Dick Fosbury.
And Dick Fosbury together. So we spent most of our night running around in circles trying to gather people up to have photos with them. But there's one special lady that we had our photo taken with. Sorry, I interrupted your story, Bayo.
No, go on. Tell the story.
Oh, okay. So when we got there, someone said to us, Betty Cuthbert's here. And we were like, what? Betty Cuthbert? So Betty Cuthbert is the 56th Olympic champion in the 100 and 200, and then she came back in 64 and won the 400 meters. And she has relay medals as well. So like she is like an absolute icon, but also she's Australian. She was in her 70s, late 70s probably back then. And also she has multiple sclerosis. So she wasn't someone that we ever expected to meet, ever in our wildest dreams did we ever expect to meet Betty Cuthbert. So we're like, someone said, there she is. And so we went over and we talked to her granddaughter and said, would it be okay for us to speak to Betty? She said, of course, Betty'd love to speak to you. So Bayo went to speak to her and he was having a chat and he turned around and said...
Well, I turned around and said, here's my brother. My brother wasn't there. And I'm like, oh, where is he? Jody was in the corner crying. So if you see this picture here, just around the corner, Jody had gone into a corner and he was just sobbing his heart out. Because he was about to be
I was so overwhelmed. The whole thing was so overwhelming. But that is the best thing. That's probably the best moment of my whole life, to be honest. Absolutely. Even now I'm getting a bit emotional. Like, how exciting. Just how exciting. Yeah, so there's lots of moments like that of us meeting like random, like the Europeans in 2002, where once again, we just, in the stadium, we decided we didn't want to sit where we were sitting. We wanted to sit in the VIP section. So we just climbed over the barrier and sat in the VIP section.
Nobody
stopped us, surrounded by, and it's like it was in Germany in 2002. So there's all these East German legends and like people from the 70s that we never thought we'd get to meet. Lamine Diak, who was the IDF president, he sat directly behind us, and we're like, "Hi, Lamine." And then, as they all left, as the event finished, we just followed Lamine Diak and his security into the VIP bar at the back, just by pretending we were supposed to be there. And inside, there is like this wall-to-wall of legendary German athletes. Ulrike Mayfarth was there. There was this amazing woman in a red leather outfit, tall, glamorous. And we're like, who on earth is this? She looks like she has to be somebody. But I couldn't for the life of me work out who it was. So in the end, having had one too many German beers, it wasn't our fault. We were in Germany. You have to drink. I just went up and grabbed her accreditation and looked at it. And it was Martine Hellman, who's like the 1983 world champion, the 1988 Olympic champion, 87 world champion. And we were like, what? Martine Hellman is here. Looking, she's a discus thrower. When she was a discus thrower back in the day, like there's a discus throwers are historically, they're big, tall, strong-looking women. They're not these glamorous, like sophisticated ladies in red leather. So we were like, obviously it's her, but we were so shocked, so excited. Guido Kratchmer was there. Like it was just once again, just an amazing, amazing night for us.
But we're back in Munich this year, obviously, but we won't be recreating that, will we, Jody? 20 years later.
No, I think we're a bit too old to be so misbehaving. Right. Like, I think we're going to little bit more grown up and a little bit more. Well, maybe not. We'll see. See how the beers go.
Yeah,
plus, we've met everybody now.
Yes.
Marita Koch. We need to meet
Marita Koch. Yeah.
Oh, I have wonderful memories of an evening after the 213 gala in Monaco, and they had invited lots of champions from the 1980 Olympics. And so I had this wonderful evening with Marita Koch, Heike Drechsler, Volker Beck, Thomas Munster, and one of my idols, Sarah Simeoni. And it was so much fun. They're just so lovely. So definitely you must meet Marita. She's kind of shy, but she's such a wonderful lady. I like her a lot.
You don't get to be shy when us two attack you. It's nothing to do with anything. How much fun is it that Marita Koch's daughter married Heike Dressler's son? Like, obviously, all we can think about now is the grandchildren and how good they're going to be at athletics.
So tell us then some of your favorite athletics moments before Oregon 22.
Right.
Again, you're really having to pick and choose because you'd be telling us the whole history of the sport.
Exactly. There's so many. And for
my
different
favorite
reasons as well, aren't they? Like sometimes it's because it's someone you like one, sometimes it was a great race, sometimes because you were there. There's all different reasons why you love stuff.
Well, my number one, I think will always be my number one, was Kelly Holmes getting 2 gold medals in Athens. Probably her first gold medal. The 800 is the one that's like my all-time favourite moment. And that's because we followed Kelly for like a decade at this point, and she'd had so many injuries, and she'd almost done it, and then she'd broken down on that. So it was like all resting on that, and she'd looked so good in the year. And myself and John Mulkeen, who works at World Athletics now, we had a secret thing. We were saying, "Shh, don't say anything. Don't jinx it by like saying she's going to win." And Jody was actually there. Jody was in Athens working at the Olympics, and I was staying at his house. And I remember she won, and I was screaming so much. Look, yeah.
The medals. Look how little the medals were.
I know, they're tiny.
The medals are like dinner plates, aren't they?
Yeah. But I was screaming so much that I think the neighbours must have thought there was like a murder happening. And John Mulkeen called me, and he was like, "Oh my God!" And I just said to him, "I can't talk now." I said, "Hung up," because I couldn't cope. That's the one moment that sticks with me more than anything else. That's the one I had the biggest meltdown about.
I mean, obviously, I was there, so that was an amazing experience. So that was at the British camp with Kelly. Just after she'd won that first gold medal. So that must have been between the 2 gold medals. We spoke earlier about my favourite athlete of all time. It's the Queen, Merlinotti. So I have to say, 1993 World Championships, when she finally got that gold medal, only just because she forgot to run for the last 10 metres.
She tried to lose, didn't she? She really tried.
Yeah, she tried her best. But just from following her from the 82 Commonwealths is when she won. So must have been from back then when we remember her, and all those bronze medals and all those times when she should have won and was favourite going into the championships, to actually get it right at the championships and win a gold medal. It's not even me, it's Bayo. I did have a photo with Merlin, but we've lost it.
No, I found you one. I found you one from 1990, didn't I?
Oh, okay, good. So that would always be an amazing moment because it was such a build up to it. And
I've got to give a shout out. Sorry, let me give a shout out to something really recent, which is last year. And again, I don't think I've cried so much since Kelly won, and that is the men's high jump last year with Temberi and Mutazesha Barshin. Just like, oh my God. I mean, there was a video going around, like a video that we filmed for the World Athletics of us watching it. It was so perfect. It's like, and I'm so pleased that they understood the rule, because I think other people would have just carried on because they thought they had to. But just that, can we have 2 goals? And I love the fact they'd already decided they were having 2 goals. They were just being polite, weren't they? But can we have 2 goals?
But as you said, and the video's on all the social media. It's on World Athletics. It's also on our Instagram and Twitter. When you said, because you're really emotional, Bayo goes, "It's so Olympic," because and it is. It's what the Olympics should be about, right? It's about obviously they won gold, but it's also about the participation and the friendship and the brotherhood and all the rest of it. And it's not just about being. They are the best. They were both the best that day. They've both got 2 gold. They both got a gold medal. What would have been achieved by having a jump off? I don't know. Would it just mean that one of your good friends would have had to lose? Why should anyone lose when you could both win? And not just that, but not only did they both win a gold medal, they both won in the
They
PR, in the like, the Olympic legendary status that people are
They
going
won
to
the Olympics, didn't they?
They won actually, yes. It was the number one story out of the Olympics. They're going to be asked to every event forevermore together. They're going to make a lot of money from doing that as well. So I think everyone's a winner. That was brilliant. Another moment that I'm absolutely obsessed with, and this is probably the athletics video that I've watched most on YouTube, is the 1993 men's 5,000 meters. And I'm going to tell everybody to go and watch that race now. Ishmael Karui goes in. He's only 17. He's the third ranked Kenyan. And the expectation is that he will go out and he would probably, there's going to be some tactics, which I don't feel people do enough anymore.
No,
Kenyan is really good at it. He was going to go out really fast and set it up for his compatriots. I think Paul Beatok was probably their favourite. And so it goes off really fast. I think Joseph Chizire goes off really fast for the first couple of laps. And then Ishmael Karui takes over. And he just kicks in like a 4-minute mile in the middle of the 5,000. And he's like 50 metres ahead. And he just races and races and races and races. And people don't catch on that he's not coming back. And it is the most exciting race ever. Like, I could watch that race time after time after time. And what's even more fun is he came back in 95 and he wins again, and he wins with a sprint kick this time with a completely different tactic. It's an amazing race. There's lots of amazing 5,000 meter races to watch, mainly from back in the day. It's mainly sit and kick these days, isn't it? People used to take it by the scruff of the neck and like take it out hard. So Yobis Ondiki and John Ngugi, great athletes from the past who knew how to race 5,000 meters. What other favourite moments? Bayo, your favourite is the women's 10 from 96.
Okay,
right?
this is again a bit obscure, but when the Chinese all came around in 92, 93, Wang Yunxia, they were very mysterious, weren't they? Because they used to run these super fast times in China. They come to championships and do what Chinese takeaway, we used to say, when they got all 3 medals in 93. And then they just disappear again. You'd hear like all about all their exploits, but you had no way of actually sort of quantifying what they were doing. At the 1996 Olympics, Wang Yunxia turned up, and we were like, oh, here we go. We hadn't seen her. We didn't know she was going to be there, but she turns up in the 10K and she is running off. And just as
she won the 5 first, didn't she?
She won the 5 first, right? That's right. So with about, I think it's like 600 to go, she just runs off, and you think it's all over. And then you see Fernanda Ribeira, who was like probably the favourite going in. It's like she's not getting any further away, and then Fernanda's like sort of catching her slowly, and you just think, because it was just a given. Wang Yuxia was going to win this gold medal, the mysterious Wang Yuxia. But she turns up and Fernanda Ribeira's catching her, and she's catching her, and she's catching her, and she's catching her, and you can't quite believe this is going to happen, because like nobody beats Wang Yuxia, and Fernanda Ribeira does. She just comes past, and then last, like, I haven't seen it for a while, so like last, so 40 meters or something. It's just jaw dropping, and it kind of humanized them a bit, because you just thought they were unbeatable. And then you thought, oh, hold on, they can be beaten. That's one of my all-time favourite moments. It's just the kind of the incremental, like she's slowly reaching her, and I just didn't think it was possible. She actually managed to do it. So Fernanda Ribeira beating Wang Yuxia in the 1996 10,000 meter. That's a bit obscure, isn't it? I don't think that's many people's favourite.
I've got 2 more. This one is Bayo, and it's another 10,000 meter race, and it's because we were there.
Paula.
No, well, there's that one. No, it's Joe Pavey. Joe Pavey.
Oh, Joe Pavey. Yeah, in 1914. Is it 14?
Yeah,
14. And I just burst into tears after she won the 10K at the Europeans. Because again, she'd been around forever. She'd won medals at other championships. But I burst into tears.
40 years old as well.
40 years old, yeah. And I think I burst into tears because I was also 40 years old, but I wasn't winning any 10K races. And also we had a really, really bad work situation going on. We had disappeared off to the World Championships and left our office having to deal with something that was really, 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 really complicated. And I was in the middle. I kept running in and out of the stadium to like deal with it. And then I just ignored that all to watch this 10K. And then I burst into tears. And then I called them up and dumped the job, didn't I? I said, we're not doing this anymore. got my priorities right.
But like, there's pictures of you, like literally floods of tears that went all over Twitter. But there's one more. Like you said, Anna, there could have been 100 of these, but there's one more that springs to mind, and it's Christina Horogu. I'm guessing 2007. I mean, she won 2007, 2008, but 2007 was the shock. She'd obviously been away for a year because of the she missed tests, didn't she? And back then in 2006, I believe, 2006 when it happened, she was the first person to ever get done for missing tests. So, like, especially in the UK, no one was even really taking the whole thing seriously. So, yes, she deserved a ban, but I feel very sorry for her because it could have been any one of 100 other people who could have got caught out by that rule now. I think nowadays there's no excuse for that. It's been, people have known about it for 17 years. But she was the first person who got caught
also,
out.
just quickly, it was one of the very few countries where it even would have happened, because I think it was like here, Sweden and Germany were the only three countries you weren't able to like call up and let someone know that they could come and meet you or something. So she was just really, really unfortunate. But sorry, go ahead.
So she'd won the Commonwealth Games in 2006, couldn't run the Europeans, and then was out for a year. And she came back probably, I think, 2 weeks before the World Championships. And she'd run one race. Where was the championships were in
Shanghai? She'd run in Shanghai or something like that.
Yeah, she'd run it somewhere, like in a little meet in Asia somewhere. But we'd caught it, and she'd run 50.5. And so I put money on her because I was like, I think she was at 50-1 as well. So I put money on her at 50-1. And she comes back and she wins the thing, like in the closest thing ever. I mean, she like. Who was it? Sharika Jackson, or not Sharika, wasn't it? No, Noveline. Anyway, who decided to lean back at the line for some reason, and Christine leans forward, and Christine won by like 200. And Nicola was second, of course, and I did involuntary acrobatics across my living room. I don't know where it came from. You've never seen it.
He just started doing roly polies off the settee.
But I also won about £1,000. So yeah, I'll always be grateful to Christine. Number one for that just amazing sporting moment. But I won a lot of money off of her now as well. So.
Wow. Now, guys, let's get into Eugene, Oregon. So tell us about some of your very favorite moments from Eugene.
Let me just say, what a great championships. It's been a really great championships. The quality of the athletics is amazing across the board. It has been a struggle because of the time difference and how difficult it is, like doing a bit of sleep and waking up. It's also, we were talking about this we did an Instagram live on our Instagram last night with Claire, and Catherine Mary joined us. And she's obviously there because she's the stadium announcer. But we were talking about how it's a little bit muted when you're watching in the middle of the night. And you can't scream and shout too much. You're not watching it with, Bayo's not around my house or I'm around his house watching it together. So you don't really have anyone to share it with apart from Twitter. So that's a little bit unfortunate. Obviously, the next two championships are going to be very good for our time zone. So there'll be a lot of screaming and shouting and drinking as well. We've not been able to have a drink because I don't want to drink at 4 a.m. unless I'm going to go out afterwards. So there's been minimal drinking. But yeah, what brilliant championships and some of the astonishing performances. Like I don't even know where to start because there's been so many. I think we have to start with the women's sprints. I was
just going to say that the queen of the championship so far is Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. She's won five in a sprinting event. I mean, we have people. Sergei Bubka won 7, did he? Lars Riddell did 5. Pavel Fideck has just won 5. But there's been 5 in a sprinting event over that many years, going back to 2009. She would have first won, wouldn't she?
Exactly. So it's not even 5 in a row. So it's over 7 world championships, is it? Because she was pregnant at one. Tori Bowie won, and who's the American one in 2011? 2011. Carmelita Jeter won.
Oh yes.
But apart from that, it's been all Shelly-Ann, right?
13. Yeah.
13. Yeah.
So Shelly-Ann is just like an absolute marvel, and also she's so lovely. Everybody loves Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. She's just the nicest, funnest, like just an absolute delight. She's such a credit to the sport. On that same tap, the other person who is such a standout and is so brilliant is Alison Dos Santos, who was the captain in our fantasy league, wasn't he? So we're very pleased with our choice there. But like that 400 hurdles, going after last year. the general consensus was, oh, that was a once in a lifetime race. You know, that like the world record, them all running so fast. We didn't think we'd actually see that for a while, even though they're going to be pushing each other. I thought it was the track. I thought it was the shoes or something, you know. But no, he ran 46.2 easing up. Didn't even run the last 20 meters. And that's going to go on for years. They're all him and Rai Benjamin and who am I missing?
Carsten
Born, of course. They're all relatively young. Carsten's only like, what, 26, 27 or something. And there's others coming. So it's so weird how 10 years ago, the men's 4 hurdles, you were winning the worlds in like 48-1.
Well, Carsten won his first worlds in 2017 in 48.
Yeah. And to go sub 48 was like a huge deal. And now you have to run sub 48 to get to the final, and you can't expect a medal much over 40, like 47.2 maybe. It's just brilliant. It's such a brilliant event at the moment, and they're all such a joy to watch. That's really important, isn't it? There's so many athletes around at the moment who are just an absolute joy to watch.
Yeah, we've got to talk from a British perspective about Jake Whiteman in the 1500. And of course, we love it because we've been following Jake for years. We interviewed him at the British Trials just 3 weeks ago. We knew he was in good form, and we know he's up there and thereabouts. And on a good day, we always talk about a sneaky bronze. Like we're always saying, you know, there's always, if you're smart tactically, there's always room for a sneaky bronze. Well, Jake went and got a sneaky gold. And
yes, that's exactly what he did.
What was brilliant was it was tactical perfection. Absolute perfection. And Jakob, who is not always the most gracious in defeat, once again said something he was upset to be beaten by an inferior athlete. Well, sorry, Jakob, you were not as good. Yes, you were not as good. Jake beat you. He was better tactically, he was better physically, and he was a better athlete than you. His tactics was to take it to Jakob, and Jakob's not used to that. At 200 meters to go, Jakob's usually running away from people. And Jake was like, no, sorry, I'm going to go in front of you. You have to overtake me. And he couldn't do it because Jake was the better athlete. And just for years, obviously there's not been a British world level, global gold medalist at the 1500 since Steve Cram back in 1983. And in between, we've had some great athletes, but there's always this British thing of like kind of staying around the back on the inside and thinking that's a tactic. We used to call it going to the back and staying there. And the new generation of British athletes, Jake and Josh and Laura and Keely. Keely in the 800 as well. Max Bergin, who unfortunately is not going to be here, but is an immaculate front runner. This new crop of British distance runners, they take no prisoners. They are tactically very astute. They're brave. They take it so that they've got lots of confidence. And this is going to be like, we've got amazing runners already. Laura ran a crazy race. That 1500 was a crazy race. And Laura got another medal. And the same way that Kelly inspired all of these runners 18 years ago, she inspired this generation of runners. It's going to be a conveyor belt now because young people coming up are going to want to be like Jake, are going to want to be like Laura and Keely. And so hopefully this can go on for a good few years. Britain's dominating in the middle distances again. But just I would show that race to every young athlete and say, Absolutely. This is how you run a 1500 meters.
Yeah, 100%.
Brilliant. Perfectly positioned the whole way. What other events are there? Oh, one of my favorite things was it was the first race, the first gold medal. It was the women's 20-kilometer walk, and it was Kimberly Garcia Leon from Peru. Now, I don't even know an athlete from Peru. I definitely don't know a medalist from Peru. I'm upset with World Athletics for the messing about with the walks. We've got a 20K. We're going to have a 35K for some random reason. And I think
it's bizarre. It's just nonsense.
Well, I think what's going to happen is they're going to scrap the 20K and we're just going to have a 35.
Oh, absolutely. Of course they are, yeah. But 35K isn't a distance. It's just a totally made up Frankenstein distance, isn't it?
But isn't at the next World Championships, maybe you know this, Anna, at the next World Championships or Olympics, is there no walk? It's a walk relay or something?
There had been some talk about getting rid of the 50K and introducing this crazy relay story, but that's happily been shelved because that was... Okay. It was like the mixed relay thing. Oh, we need to have a mixed relay and everything. Great. On 400, it's wonderful. On race walk, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Never heard of a walk relay. There's no such thing, is there?
But especially if there's no individual event, there's just a relay. So we're having a relay of an event that doesn't exist.
Yes.
Yeah.
We won't get into
relay,
it. We won't get...
I was and still am a little bit anti the mixed relay, just because it's just another. We used to say it's just another excuse for Alison and Felix to get a medal, which is exactly what it's turned out to be. And sprinters don't need another chance to get a medal. I'd love to see an Octagon relay or a relay for distance runners. A mixed relay for distance runners would be phenomenal. Yeah, I don't need a mixed 4x4, but having said that, it's been some of the best races of the last two championships. So,
it's extremely entertaining, but it's entertaining because America haven't got a handle on it. So America are throwing in a D team and losing. So if they were throwing an A team, it wouldn't be very interesting at all. But they're not. So that's made it interesting because really interesting countries are winning medals. The problem is it doesn't fit in the schedule. It's like it's messy wherever you put it. You either are going to get like lesser teams because it's too close to. Well, you're going to get lesser teams basically, aren't you? Because there's nowhere to put it in the schedule where anyone but America can put extra teams in. So it either messes up races for other countries or allows America to put in a D team. It's just messy. It's unnecessary.
Yeah, but quite good fun.
Yeah, loads of fun.
What other events have there been? And something else I love, and this is what I love about athletics. It also is like there's all, like we talked earlier. There's all these different events for different people, and one of the fun results, and it's a complete surprise, was Feng Bin winning the discus.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know Feng Bin as an athlete. She'd thrown 66 meters this year in China, and we've not seen her since. But to come out and throw 69 meters and to do it in the backyard of the favourite. And to beat her, it was a perfect podium because we love an underdog, and especially Americans in America can be a little bit overwhelming when they win everything. So we like to see an underdog beat an American on home soil. I'm sorry to say. But
that was amazing.
Again,
I mean, she killed the competition in the first round.
Yes,
that's the way to do it, isn't
it? Throw and it's like, and I was really happy to see Sandra Perkovic because she's one of my favorites. She's so intense. Yes. She's such and just really outspoken, and it was quite amazing.
I love her Instagram.
Valerie Allman is the U.S. thrower that was expected to dominate. Instead, you have the other ladies in shot put and hammer who win, and not Valerie.
Yeah. Once again, we could talk about all events. We should just quickly mention the women's 200 last night as well, which is what we all stayed up for and why we're all tired today. It was the final, to be honest, was a little bit underwhelming, but only because the semi-finals had been so amazing. Yeah. Sherika, of course, ran really fast, but Jeliane ran fast-ish. Dina got a medal outside 22, which was after the semi-finals was a bit of a shock. But I'm so happy for Dina to come back and not defend her title, but almost defend her title, to get another medal, especially after last year when she was so in such good form and got injured right at the wrong moment, and to come fourth in the 100 meters as well. Overall, very, very happy with the results from that event. But yeah, it's been a great championships.
And we've still got like 3 more days to go. So
yeah, 3 more sleepless nights.
Oh yes. Let's take a very quick look then at the first 6 days of competition. We're not counting last night because it was way too, it was just a few hours ago. I mean, it was amazing, both finals, both the men and women's 200 were absolutely amazing. Yes. But let's have a look at what's happened in the first 6 days. So first with the sprints, hurdles and relays. And of course, podium sweep for the US in the men's 100. Wow. So Curley, Bracy, and Bromell, they really did it this year. It was kind of, they were a bit upset after the Tokyo Olympics. And it's funny because in the Tokyo Olympics, the US men, they had not performed well. And they came back with a vengeance this year. That was totally amazing.
But there's often a thing with American athletes, isn't there, who don't perform well outside of America. They're so used to competing on the collegiate circuit and in America that they don't necessarily travel well. Fortunately for them, they didn't need to travel from Eugene this time. It's the track they all love to run on.
And also, the men's sprints, I feel, since Usain Bolt, they haven't quite caught fire. Since Usain retired, it's been like there's no one's really dominated. There's not kind of that competition you need. Whereas on the women's side, it's like it's the same faces over and over again battling it out. And we've all kind of grown to sort of know and love them. That same hasn't happened with the men's. And it seems to slowly be coming back. It is a shame that Lamont Jacobs wasn't there, because after winning the Olympics, you want someone to come and maybe... Well, last year he won the Olympics and the World Indoors, didn't he? I think he won the European Indoors before that. But you wanted him to come and like dominate. But it's worked out really well for America, and it's good for the sprints. It's good for the sprints when you have people coming and dominating again. So Fred Curley's looking at the main man now, and he needs others coming to try and take him down.
And it was also
he's impressive. Fred Curley really is impressive. Not the most talkative and outspoken guy, but gosh, can he run?
But that's kind of the problem with the men's 100 for the moment. They haven't had a real character. You know, Kristen Coleman is the same. Kristen Coleman doesn't really have a personality. Lamont Jacobs, we thought, could maybe be the one. He's injured this year. So it's going to take a while to kind of get those personalities and rivalries back going, like we have in the women's, which is kind of, as we say,
and like we do in the men's 200, because Noah Lyles is a great personality.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to see him run some more 100 meters, because he could be up there. Agree. I mean, absolutely, he could be winning the 100 meters as well. It was also a shame that Ferdinand Omanyala had visa issues and didn't arrive like till an hour before, because I think he would have made the final. And you know, he was consistently running 10.8s, so he could have been a challenger. But yeah, it's getting there with the men's sprints.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Jamaica responded with a podium sweep in the women's 100, just to make it clear. And I mean, Shelly-Ann, just so amazing. You know, equaled the world lead for the third time, 10:67. 7 women ran under 11 seconds. I mean, that's never happened before.
Wow.
And of course, Shelly-Ann with her 5th individual title at 35. Wow.
Can we just talk about their... Go on. So we just need to talk about the Jamaican women's wig game as well, because it the hair changes between every round. They've come with supplies.
She really is amazing. I mean, every round it's a different color. She says it keeps her mind relaxed, because she's not focusing too much on the race. It gives it a lighter side, and it helps her to relax, and it sure does.
I'm just always worried I'm always worried she's gonna do a blessing and have her hair cut.
Yes.
But it's clearly fastened a lot more securely, isn't it? So.
Well, apparently she almost did in the 200-meter semi.
She did, yeah. No, she did her hair on the way, yeah.
Exactly. Now, isn't it also amazing that Elaine Thompson-Herah in 3rd? This is her first medal at the World Championships.
Over 100.
I mean, she's
she got 200 silver, didn't she?
But it's over her first individual medal over the 100.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, if you're going to come out, if you're going to choose the Olympic year or the World Championship year to be the dominant force, then I think she made the right choice.
But isn't it weird how that happens sometimes? So, like, Pavel Fideck has got only one Olympic bronze, and he's got 5 World Championship golds. I mean, it's just crazy, and it's just pure chance. What happens on one particular year? You can't determine when an injury is going to happen, can you? Or when you're just going to lose your form. It's very, very strange when that happens.
Yeah, definitely. Now, a quick one on the hurdles on the 110, because we've spoken a bit about the 400 is like top drama there. Of course, in the US, they were all upset that Devon Allen, who had run this amazing 12:84, he was DQ'd because his reaction time was 1,000th of a second below the time. But Hansel Parchment getting injured on warm up on the track, and he was looking really sharp.
He looks amazing. I mean, he was the favourite to win. Just to comment on the Devon Allen situation, it was really sad. Like, you don't want to see someone go out on a false start in their home championships, at possibly their last championships. You don't also want to see it go by 1,000th of a second, which is a time that's like not quantifiable to us at all. But there has to be a line somewhere of when that line is, and that is the line. And if you go under it, you can't run. I mean, what if you allow 99, you're going to allow 98, you're going to allow 90? Where's the line? That is the line. That's the rules. And unfortunately, he was the wrong side of them this time. But it's funny, isn't it? Every time Americans break the rule, not intentionally, they think the rules are wrong and the rules need to be changed.
But at the same time, Devon didn't say anything. It was more the media and the fans that.
Oh, absolutely, no.
Yeah, not Devon. No,
Devon is super correct. He's a really cool guy, and I mean, it's like you say, when he false started in Daegu, he also took it really like a sportsman, saying, "Okay, these are the rules. I messed up, my fault." And Devon was the same.
Agreed.
And in any case, I don't think. If he hadn't DQ'd and Hansel hadn't been injured, they would not have had a podium sweep in any case, because I think Devon, Hansel Parchment was looking really brilliant.
I agree.
I agree.
Now, you're not mega fans of the hurdle, of the mixed relay, but gosh, Dominican Republic, they were so amazing. Because, I mean, Marilady Paulino, she's been at the top of her game years, but they also now have Fiordalisa Cofil as well. So they have two amazing ladies. The men are getting better and better, because Alexander Ogando, he's done great things this year. I was so thrilled to see them take that one.
Well, you say we're not a fan of the mixed 4x4, but I'm a huge fan of the Dominican Republic winning the mixed 4x4. Just
and
like
Poland
winning
last
year. Yeah. So I'm loving these results. I don't love the event, but I'm absolutely loving the results. And it's what we keep saying. It's about all those different countries that win medals. And I think that's so, so important. There's no other sport where that happens in, For a Dominican Republic to be able to go back home with a gold medal, think what that does for the sport in the Dominican Republic, and also they're getting better. We've seen, it's not just one runner. There's 2, 3. It's great. It's fantastic for the sport, just like it is when, say, Peru and India and that winning gold medals as well these days. That's what I really support.
All these Caribbean countries, Jamaica, Bahamas, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, are tiny, tiny countries. Tiny countries with, I think, isn't Bahamas wasn't there 300,000 people or something live in the Bahamas?
Something. I think and per capita, they're like the greatest nation in athletics, aren't they?
This is what's so great about athletics, because you need some equipment, and yes, you need a track, but you don't need, in Britain, we're great at sailing, horse riding, cycling, things that cost billions of pounds.
Not canoeing, rowing.
Things that you sit down to do, apparently, is what we're good at. But for athletics, you don't need loads and loads of equipment. It is a relatively accessible sport. And these smaller countries can be supremely successful at them, at these sports. And obviously, a lot of them go to university in America, which has a great system. It's easy accessible for Caribbean athletes. So it's great to see these small countries have this kind of success. And success breeds success, and we love to see it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, let's move on quickly to middle and long distances. So, I mean, Jake Whiteman, really, that was absolutely something. And what was also amazing is that you had 5 Europeans in the top spot. And that had never happened on the 1500. It's happened a bunch of times on the throws, but in the 1500, 5 Europeans is whoa.
But again, that's also really good for the sport. It's really good when because if whole areas start giving up on certain events because they think they can't win them anymore, which I think has happened for a bit with the middle and long distances, assuming that Africans are going to win, it's really important that we have some diversity, as it were, some variety. In the same way that it's really good that we have Africans and Asian and Caribbean people winning the javelin now. It's really important that we mix it up. And so just to see that is really heartening. It means that there's nothing is out of reach for anyone at the moment.
No, definitely. Now, women's 10,000. I love Letsenbet Gidey, and I was so happy that she got her first global gold. I mean, the lady has 3 world records, which she set in the last 1 month, but she hadn't won gold. So that was, and it again, amazing depth in that race.
Yeah,
Helen
really
Obiri still there. moved up because now she's going to focus on road races. So she said, okay, let's move out of my territory, the 5, and go to the 10. But that was really, really great race. And great.
But we talk about Gide at last having won a gold medal. She's really young. She's not been around very long. Yes, she's got these world records. I'm no disrespect to her at all, but these whole racing light things, which people are following around for world records, for me is a little bit of an illegitimate world record in the sense that, you know, when you look at the world records that Tirunesh Dubaba set, when she had to pace herself most of the race, and the fluctuation in split times, because you're doing it all yourself, is really detrimental to running fast times. Whereas you can just follow a light, and then there's like metronomic pace. Well, of course it's metronomic pace because they're literally following a metronome. So yes, she ran those times. Yes, she's a phenomenal talent, and she's a beautiful athlete to watch as well. But I'm a little bit upset with these world records using pacing lights. But just to say also, I was very happy to see her win in a sprint finish because she's fast. But she's not got that sprint, or hasn't had until this year.
She doesn't have that change of pace, does she? So she has to change of pace. But we're talking about Helena Beery. I feel like she's kind of retired or moved to the roads about 5 times now, and yet every championship she comes back and wins, be it indoors or country or roads or track. You know, it doesn't matter what you throw at her. She's always going to be there, isn't she? Did she do the 5K yesterday? I can't remember.
No, she focused on the 10. I mean, she and Faith Kipyegon, they're the ones Kenya can always count on to medal. So Helen didn't win this time. Faith did. Amazing. But they are so strong and so dependable. And I really like both ladies.
Absolutely.
But I also love Gokha Cheptegei. And I was so happy that he could repeat his gold. Surprise with Japan-based Kenyan Stanley Mburu. That was someone people weren't expecting. And Jacob Kiplimo is again in bronze, so that was cool. Mm-mm.
But it's now, also good that, you know, as we say, we now have Uganda in the mix. Uganda along with Ethiopia and Kenya. So again, it's not just those two countries, it's another country. They're right next door, they're neighbours, but like it's another country in the mix, which diversifies the sport again. It's more countries coming in, more countries getting medals, which, you know, it's a running theme with us, but I just think that's really important and really exciting to see.
Exactly, and there really is this strong friendly rivalry between Uganda and Kenya. So my friends in Uganda are always thrilled when one of their athletes comes out tops. Now, Nora Geruto, running for Kazakhstan now in the 3,000 steeplechase, that was an extremely impressive performance. 8:53:02. That was absolutely fantastic. Third best of all times. And Winfried Yavi only in fourth, you know, fading away in the last 200. That was also a totally amazing race.
But I just want to point out that the steeplechase has been a bit funny for the last few years. Lots of different people winning. Kenyans moving to different countries. So it's a little bit confusing for us. Obviously, Nora Geruto wasn't able to compete last year because she'd moved to Kazakhstan. So there's not been a consistency in winners in this event. It's all different people. And I just wanted to say a bit about Yavi coming fourth. This is something that we see time and time again, especially in the women's steeplechase, is the lack of technique. She lost that because she lost so much time over that last water jump. And it's very strange to me that people don't put in some effort into learning how to do basic hurdling. And obviously it's very difficult, and the longer you go, the more difficult it is. But they don't even start off with any hurdling technique. And you can win and as you know, as Emma Coburn showed, who's got immaculate technique. Even Geruto, is it Nora Geruto, right? Very, very good technically over hurdles. And in an event like that, where there's, I don't know exactly how many hurdles you have, but if you lose a meter each time, that's the race lost. And so it would behoove a lot of them to put in a little bit more effort in the technical aspects of the steeplechase.
Yeah, knee first just isn't a good technique, is it?
Yeah, and it's true. You see such a difference in the way they go over that hurdle. It's sometimes, and some of them you're like, ooh.
I'm genuinely surprised more people don't sort of come a cropper. You know, it looks really dangerous often, doesn't it? You know, it looks really dangerous, and you're surprised more people don't fall over all the time.
Well, French runner Alice Finot, who had a wonderful, competition. She destroyed the French record, and then she was almost on the same pace for the record, and she just flipped over, smack into the water jump in the last jump. But she picked herself up, and she was only 7 seconds behind the French record, which if she hadn't fallen and gotten totally drenched in there, would probably have been a good time.
I just
talking of records. Go ahead. So talking of records,
you go.
Talking of records, we need to give a shout out to Amy Pratt from Britain, who set a British record in the heats and another one in the final. I think she came 7th, was it? That is so brilliant. We love Amy Pratt in Britain because she always goes for it. I remember her first at the British trials in 2018, I think it was, where she just ran out by herself to get the qualifying. She's just one of the athletes you really cheer on, you really support, because she always gives it, like, I hate this expression, but 110%. So pleased to see that. And it's about time that Britain had a steeplechaser who was getting down to those world-class times. 9:15 is a world-class time. It's a time that will get you into finals. It's a time that could potentially get you medals at the European Champs. So fingers crossed that continues on.
Now, marathon, it was Ethiopia, double in the men and the women. And Kimberly Garcia, we've already mentioned, that was totally amazing. And she's running she's walking, sorry.
Walking.
In just a few hours. And by the way, why do the men have 2 more days to rest before they contest the 35K? The men are doing it on Sunday.
Who knows?
The schedule's very weird. This whole schedule is very, very strange. Yeah. I mean, there was only two finals last night, wasn't there?
Look at the sprinters. They had to run the first round of the 200 the night, just a few hours after running the final the night before. And the guys had a day in between. So what is this?
Yeah. The 400, they had the 4 relay, then they had a 400 heat, then they had a day off, then they had a 400 heat, and then they had 2 days off.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think was there only two? There was only 2 gold medals last night, wasn't there?
Yeah,
only
just the 200s. And the night before there was only the
discus and the women's steeplechase.
Discus and the steeplechase. It's just really.
No, they had some throwing events as well. It was 4 finals the previous night.
Okay.
Last night. Okay. It's just a bit sort of thin in place. It's just a bit odd. I always think it's a bit strange they don't have a sort of a standard timetable that they can change a bit depending on where you are, but it can completely change from championship to championship. It's sometimes like wildly different.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I think the 5,000 or 10,000, no, the 10,000 women, they were running like at midday.
Yes.
Yes.
Come on. Yeah. Why? Anyway, so field events, high jump, the amazing Mumtaz Barshim, that was so fantastic. He's such a wonderful character, a wonderful athlete. This is his 3rd consecutive World Championship gold, all of them with 2 meters 37. 2 meters 37 also in Tokyo. That was absolutely amazing. Really, really. Yeah. And he's one of my favorite athletes. And he makes it so effortless.
Yes.
You look at him and he really is flying. He had this thing, what gravity, huh? Well, that is Mutaz. He's fantastic. Big surprise, of course, for women.
Yes, yeah.
So Eleanor Patterson, equaling the Oceania record to take a surprise win over Jaroslava Maguchik. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, she was good indoors, but her best was 198, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So to come out and to do that, to improve that much in a competition is really impressive.
Yes.
Mahuchik, it was down to a second attempt, which people, I mean, obviously you always try your best, but I feel like sometimes people, this is not for her because obviously she's been great, but sometimes people forget about like the earlier heights. And, people have lost gold medals because of a failure at 185 or something.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one athlete, sorry, I'm being a little bit chauvinistic here, but I was quite impressed with Elena Valortigara.
Absolutely.
Because she had never won a senior medal. She took bronze at 30 years of age, and she cleared all her attempts on the first. She cleared all the heights on the first one. So, wow. Well done, Elena.
Wasn't she out for years? Wasn't she out for like 5 years or something?
No. She was there, but she never. She was, I guess, a little bit emotional, so she felt the pressure a lot on big events. She was around, but she was really, really focused this time, and she was. I mean, honestly, I didn't expect her to medal. She's already jumped over 2 meters. But doing it again and in with such self-assuredness, wow, congratulations.
Yes.
Now, long jump men, we have to mention, big surprise by China's Wang Jianan in the last round. That was absolutely great. Of course, Miltiadis Tedoglu wasn't thrilled. Decathlete Simone Hammer, I was really rooting for Simon because I just love this story that he has by far the best jump this year, and he did it during a decathlon. So he was one of my emotional favorites, but unfortunately it didn't materialize. Of course, Yuli Mar Rojas
Tentoglu has won everything but the Worlds, and we just assumed he was winning this as well. In fact, he was winning it, wasn't he, until like the very last minute.
But he's only 24, right?
He's only 24, which is amazing. I thought he was like nearly 30. He just seems to have been around forever, and he's won everything there is to win, almost. 24, think how much longer he's got to go. He's really racking it up to become like, we haven't had a really...
dominant.
Really dominant long jumper for a long time, and he was really beginning to look that way. I suspect he's going to continue for a few years yet.
Yeah, definitely. He should. Now, Yuli Mar Rojas, I just love her. She is such a wonderful lady. She didn't jump as far as she would have loved to. She's going for 16 meters, but she still had 3 jumps over 15 meters and was the only athlete to pass that barrier. So,
the thing is, because she's so amazing, she only jumped 15:47, and so we're a little bit disappointed. Only one person has ever jumped further than that, ever, or apart from herself. Only one other person has jumped further, and we're like, oh, that wasn't great. But yeah, she's once again, she's a delight, absolute delight. She's fun, she's charismatic, she engages with the crowd. She's just she's perfection. And she'll get 16 meters.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
She'll get it. As I say, I mean, she had injuries this year. She wasn't, she'd competed very little, and she wasn't at the top. But as you say, it's ridiculous that we're kind of disappointed with 15:47. Now the throws. Another podium sweep for the U.S. I mean, Ryan Krauser and Joe Kovacs, you would kind of expect, but Joshua Wotunde in third. Wow.
Yeah, and he's someone who obviously raised his game at the championships because it was a big PB for him, I believe. And also we are used to. There's a top 3, isn't there, in the shot put? And I forgot, his name escapes me.
Walsh.
Yes, of course. The assumption is that those 3 are going to get the medals, and then Darling Darlan
Romani.
Romani. You think, he's got a chance, right?
Yeah, like he might get in there. So it was a surprise, but Americans at the shot put are phenomenal. So
there's just a conveyor belt, isn't there? It's just a conveyor belt.
Yeah.
And Ryan Krauser finally won a world championship gold because he hadn't, and that's crazy as well.
Yeah, once again, like you just assumed that he would have, but obviously the last 2 times, last 3 times he's been beaten by the guys just behind him this time.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Now the men's discus, Christian Che has been really very, very strong this year, even though Daniel Stahl had the world lead and he was only 4th. But then what I find really interesting that you have 2 Lithuanians, Mykola Salekna in silver, age 19, and Andrius Gudzius, age 31. So that's the kind of little thing I find is a lot of fun. Again, 5 Europeans in top spots, which is nothing new. I think once they had all 8 finalists, which were Europeans, but 67 meters, all 5 of them over 67 meters, and that is something new. And as we were saying, the level of these championships has been absolutely fabulous.
And we didn't see a lot of the discus on the Bristol. We didn't see a lot of discus on the television. They just didn't show a lot. But baby Alekna is scary. So he's 19. What was he through 69?
Yeah, 19.
Considering his pedigree, I think there's a lot more to come there, isn't there?
Yeah, and to be winning in a heavy throw at that age, to win any medal, I mean, to even be competitive at a heavy throw at that age is insane. Because he's been throwing a lower weight discus, hasn't he? I don't know if is he 20 this year? Is he no longer a junior? So it would have been his first year really competing with this weight of discus. So you can imagine the improvement that can come from him. Very scary. And Che is very young as well, isn't he? So young crop of heavy throwers. Really good.
Yeah. Mm-mm. So as we saw, Pavel Fideck, 5th consecutive title. And he's one of these athletes who's good at the Worlds and who always feels the pressure at the Olympic Games. Now, Hammer. First time you have 3 North American ladies with Brooke Anderson, Cameron Rogers of Canada, and Jenny Casanavoid. And she's the first North American, Native American to medal. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Now, Nafi Thiam, that was another amazing competition, the heptathlon. Such good level. 5 athletes had more than 6,500 points. It had happened only once before. That was in 2017. But there, the 6th and 7th, they had a lot less points than the ladies here. That was fantastic. And again, I was happy for Nafi Thiam. She comes back from injury and she wins it again. Anouk Vetter set a great national record. Anna Hall, I mean, she's really one to look out for. And I loved how at the NCAAs, she also begged her coach to let her run the 400 hurdles, and she gets silver. And that race was less than an hour before the 800 meter.
Yeah, I mean, let's say,
one amazing lady.
2 things. I just want to talk about Nafi Thiam and how spectacular she is. And what she's done, which is what a lot of heptathletes aren't able to do, is work on her weaker events and bring them up to a level. She doesn't. Jessica Ennis did this very well. Jessica Ennis naturally wasn't a thrower, but she went away and she worked really hard. And she's obviously very coachable and very knowledgeable. And she picks things up and she listens. And she came on to her throws were like 14, 60, I think, in the shot, and 48 meters in the javelin. And Nafi's done the same with the opposite events. I mean, she wasn't fast, was she? She was running outside 25 seconds for the 200. She was high 13s in the hurdles and sometimes 220 in the 800. And now she's running low 24s. She's running 13.2. She's running. She just ran 2:13 in the 800 meters. So she doesn't.
And the long jump as well. She never used to be a long jumper.
Exactly. Yes, she was 6:20 in the long jump. Now she can jump 6:80 in the long jump. And it's that ability to go away and learn. And I think it's a mentality more than anything, because I think everyone has the ability to pick up new skills, but some people don't. I don't know if they just rest on their laurels. They just work on the stuff they're comfortable with. They get in their head. British heptathletes, historically, we've had some issues with people in the throws, and they seem to get stuck in one place. Where Nafi could have quite easily gone, oh, do you know what? I'm not fast. I'll just work on, I'm good at the high jump and I'll just throw even further. She's obviously had an issue with her elbow. So her javelin and shot put, they're still great, but maybe she won't get up to the 16 meters and the nearly 60 meters previously. So instead, she'll make up a few more points in the 800. That's what makes a great heptathlete, is being able to have that balance. And she's an absolute genius. And I did want to just mention Anna Hall, because she's my favorite new athlete of the championships. We'd seen pictures of her, and we'd seen like a little bit of her competing in NCAA and the American trials, but I'd not seen any of her personality. I didn't see any of her enthusiasm. And she's loved every second of it. And I think that's what's brought out the great performances, just being there, enjoying yourself, not letting the stress get you, having fun. The javelin, I mean, I don't think technically she's that great, but she just runs and flings it for her. That just gives it everything. And she's running 45, 46 meters. So, yeah, she's brilliant. And I'm really excited to see her coming up. She's only 21. So, like, there's so much more to come from her.
I definitely agree. I also love Anna Hall. Fantastic. She just has this freshness and enthusiasm, and really lovely lady. So let's recap now some of the impressive stats from these World Championships, starting with records. So under 20 world record for Letsile Tebogo over the 100 meters. Yeah. So in the heats on the 15th of July, he runs 9:94. Now, then, unfortunately, he had a bad start in the semis and only clocks 10:17 and doesn't make the final. But still, it was really good for Letsile, because he'd run 9:96 in Gaborone on the end of April. But the mark finally was not ratified because the equipment hadn't been tested. So it was cool that he got it this time round.
And next week, I'm guessing he'll be at the Commonwealth Games. So, there's still potentially a gold medal for him this year.
Exactly. Now, world under 18 best equaled in the high jump by Carmen Bruce, 196, finishing 7th. Now, what's amazing about Carmen is her PB last year was 1:80. So she improved it 4 times indoor, 4 times outdoor. And she, in qualifying, she improved it to 193, and in the final, 196. So
how do you even like it? That's so much.
Yes.
Wow.
Now, of course, in that final, we had an area world record by Eleanor Patterson, who equaled the 2 meters 02. And another area record, which was also, of course, a championship record and world lead in the men's 400 hurdles by our favorite Alison Dos Santos. Other area records, 100 meters Zoe Hobbs. Now, she's improved quite a few, both on the 60 meters indoor and on the 100 meters. She had an excellent year. It's her 4th PB in 2022, and 11:08 is Oceania record.
And just also talking about New Zealand 100-meter runners, there was another New Zealand 100-meter record broken as well by Edward Osei Nkatia, and he broke his own dad's national record.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That was fantastic. Now, area record in the 200 for Brazil's Vitória Cristina Mota. And that one was from back in 2010. So well done, Vitória, finally made it. Now, of course, on a super fast track like Eugene, there was going to be loads of world leads, and that's what happened. Let's look at the ones from 15 to 20 July. We're forgetting about the 200 meters for the moment. So here they are. Alison Dos Santos, as we said, he's not lost a race this year on the hurdles, including 4 Diamond League meetings. So resounding victory in 46:29, well ahead of Rai Benjamin. Now that mark is worth a whopping 1,322 points, the highest result score of the year outdoor, even better than Mondo's 13:11 in the pole vault, and equaling the score which Mondo had with his indoor 6-meter-20. So congratulations. I was really happy that Carsten was back. Sorry that he didn't make it. He was really not, he didn't have the competition sharpness and faded in the home straight. So Pavel Fideck, first world lead in the hammer. On 18 July, Mutaz Barshim with his 2:37. Again, all measures on his first attempt. Hats off, Mutaz.
Absolutely.
Jake Whiteman.
Yay!
Fantastic. Yay! And we'll talk more about Jake. And of course, Alison Dos Santos. Among the women, there were a few more, starting with Letzenbet Gidey on the 10,000. On the same day, both Katie Najot and Sandy Morris, they both cleared 485. Then Nafi Thiam, 6,947 points. Mar Rojas and Nora Geruto with her fantastic 8:53.02. And in the mixed relay, obviously that's an event that is not contested very often. So the US set the world lead in the heats, and then Dominican Republic smashed it in the final. Now let's look at...
No,
go ahead.
I was just going to say that it's so early in the year. We've got all these like crazy times already, and we've still got like more than 2 months to go or something, haven't we? So with 2 major championships coming up, certainly for some parts of the world.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you've got European Games, Commonwealth Games. There's so much still to happen. So really, really great.
Anna, are we going to see you in Munich?
I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure. Yeah. Mm-mm.
Well, if you do the
maybe
beers on
just
us,
go for a few days.
Yes. Let us know.
Otherwise, I'm doing some Diamond League meetings because those are short and sweet. It's all compact. It definitely wasn't worth it for me going to Eugene, but Munich, I'll try for at least a few days.
Okay, you let us know. We'll have to go dancing with you.
Oh, yes. Yes. I'm not Irena Shevchinska, but it'll still be great fun. So World Championships first. We spoke about the first gold for Kimberly Garcia. Now, Peru had never won a medal with in the senior. So to make it a gold, that was fantastic. Shelly-Ann, 5 times world champion. That had never happened. Then it's Kazakhstan first gold with Nora Geruto. Kazakhstan, of course, had silver and bronzes, notably with their triple jumper Olga Ripakova, but still a fantastic one. Let's have a quick look at superlatives. So on the first day of the championships, Fred Curley went out to a massive 9:79, fastest heat at the World or Olympic Championships. Now that's something that's a little bit special about this event, is that there's been quite a few events in which times in the heats were faster than times in the finals, which is a little bit unprecedented. And then, of course, as you said, Alison Felix got her chance to add another medal. So she's now got a total of 13 gold, 3 silver, and 3 bronzes.
I just want to say something about Alison. And listen, there's nothing to criticize Alison about, because she's like absolutely not just a phenomenal athlete, but a phenomenal person. And the way she holds herself and the way she's competed over these so many years is phenomenal. But, and I know I'm being a little bit petty now, when you look at her medal tally, it is not almost all, but so many of them are relay medals, and her individual medal tally isn't as impressive, as it's really bolstered by relay medals. And it's a shame for athletes who don't have ability to win relay medals. Shawnee, for example, or someone who doesn't come from a country that has the ability to put together a really strong relay team, that people who can get relay medals, I don't like to include relay medals in people's tallies because I don't think it's fair to people who aren't able to get them.
I agree. I totally agree with you. No disrespect to Alison, but
Not
I totally agree.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's like her Olympics, she only has one Olympic gold individual medal, which is just insane when you look at her record. She's got the 200 from 2012. That's the only individual Olympic gold she has. Yes. Controversial.
So then who do we have? Pavel Fideck, 5 times world champion, tied with Lars Riedel, but Lars Riedel had a bronze in 99, so his titles were not consecutive. So first consecutive 5 titles. And of course, Sergei Bubka still has the highest tally with 6 successive.
And also, let's not forget that Sergei won in 83, when before the World Championships was every 2 years. So he definitely would have won. I can't say definitely, but in 85 and 89, it's more than likely, because he was world number 1, that he would have won as well. So he potentially would have 8 in a row.
Yes.
If you had those medals back in the day.
Yeah. So that is definitely super valuable because, as you say, it used to be 4-year intervals at the beginning. Then Shelly-Ann, 5 times a world champion. Now that's the first time it's happened among the women. So congratulations, really fantastic, Shelly-Ann. And at 35, she's the oldest champion on track.
Now, just to say, and it's like Anita Blaszczak has got 4, hasn't she? If she hadn't been injured, she very well might have made them 5. So she's got next year to make up.
Exactly.
Oh, it's only next year, isn't it?
It's next year, yes.
Oh God.
And then, of course, Mutaz Barshim, 3rd consecutive gold. First time it's happened. Now let's have a look at the podium sweeps. Again, from the 15 to the 20th. So we had 3 of them. U.S. sweep in the 100, Curly, Marvin Bracey, Trayvon Bromell. It's the 3rd time this was achieved by the U.S. They also did it in 1983 and in 1991. Shot put, this is the first time that any country, certainly the US, has a podium sweep. And the Jamaican women responded in the 100. It's the first time they've done it at the World Championships. Now, of course, they had already done it at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Now, repeat champions. The first was Toshikazu Yamazaki on the 20K. Pavel Fideck in the hammer. Grant Holloway. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price. Mutaz Barshim. And Mar Rojas. Now, there's 2 athletes who had already won gold in Eugene, and that was back in 2014 when they were under 20, and that's China's Wang Jianan. He was a world junior champion, and Joshua Cheptegei.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's a good start.
Yeah. No, that's really great. There's other athletes who won gold, who had won who had competed at the World Under 20. El Bakali was 4th. Mar Rojas, she reached the final in the long jump, but she was only 11th, and she didn't make the cut in the triple. But those 2, they were outstanding at both the junior and senior levels. Now, some special things from the World Championships. On 17 July, Mongolia's Bat Ochirin Ser Od, He was only 26th in the marathon, but the guy has completed every single Olympic and World Championship marathon since 2003. Fantastic.
I remember him. I think he'd won the Brighton Marathon a few years ago, which is the only marathon I've ever run in. Well, I can't say run. I ran to 18 miles and then I crawled for 8 miles.
Wow. No, that was great. As we said, Jenny Castanavoid, first Native American to medal at the World Championship. And she's spoken about how important it is for her to have this huge performance on this huge scale in front of the United States on native soil. So she's really into it. And I love her Instagram handle, which is Nye Throws a Big Rock. I love that. So 1500, as we said, that was quite amazing with 5 Europeans in the top 15. And what was also quite amazing for Jeff Whiteman, who's both the father and coach of Jake, is to be, calling his son's winning race. That was really a special.
There's a video going around. It's on Catherine Merry's Twitter. It's got over 1 million views. Of she's recording Jeff while he's commentating on Jake, and it's like the way he keeps his composure. I don't know. Yeah. I had no idea how he does that. It was really it's really something to watch.
Yeah, it's great. And then when at some point the camera was on him, so he's like having to explain he's my son and he's the world champion. But he remains very composed.
It's got 961,000 views on Catherine Merry's Twitter at the moment. That's the biggest speech she's ever done.
Now, both of Jake's parents were elite marathon runners. Jeff had a PB of 2 hours 13, and his mother, Susan, née Tooby, she was his first coach. She has a PB of 2:31, and for good measure, Aunt Angela Tooby was the 1988 World Cross Silver medalist. So that was pretty impressive. What a family, definitely. Now, one moment which is not really from Eugene, but I love this little poem that Nicola McDermott, now Ollie Slagers, composed when she was 8 years old about her high jump dream. That was so cute that even though she wasn't in the medals this time, I just want to mention it because that was really lovely. So now, unfortunately, we have to look at, there she is.
Oh, she's 8.
And she definitely made her dream come through in Tokyo last year. So well done for dreaming about it when she was 8 years old.
We all feel like cookies and cream.
Isn't that cute? I mean, it's so sweet. She needed to find a rhyme for dream. So now, unfortunately, we also need to have a look at various World Championship and Olympic Games medalists who didn't make the final. Now, Marcel Jacobs in the 100 meter, of course, he was the gold in Tokyo, but he was injured and he pulled out, not wanting to aggravate his injury. Same thing with Andre de Grasse, 200 meters Olympic champion. Donovan Brazier, World Championships gold, and he was out in the heats.
Mm-hmm.
As
He's
was
have an operation next week, isn't he?
Yes. Benjamin Keegan, 3,000 meter steeplechase Olympic bronze. He was out. Now, Tajay Gale, of course, we knew he'd been badly injured in the Jamaican championships, and he didn't make it back. Among the women, Vashti Cunningham, she didn't clear her qualifying height. Holly Bradshaw, she was also injured. Malvina Copron, she was an Olympic bronze and she didn't make the qualifying. And neither did Maria Andrejczyk in the javelin, and she'd been a silver in Tokyo. Now, all the attention was focused on Eugene, but there was another world lead, which was set by someone who couldn't compete in Oregon, and that's Angelica Sidorova. So in the pole vault, a day after the U.S. duo cleared 485, actually 3 days later, she cleared 4 meters 86 in the Moscow championships. So congratulations, honestly, for keeping her motivation, because it must not be easy.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So we've been giving our impressions about performances in Eugene, but we're going to open up the debate now, and we have reaction videos from journalists and officials around the world. So let's take a look. Ugandan journalist Olivia Nakate talks about her joy as Joshua Cheptegei took 10,000-meter gold.
My name is Olivia Nakate, and I'm a sports journalist with Urban TV Uganda. I've been and I'm still following World Athletics Championships on TV, just like many Ugandans here in the country. Joshua's medal came in the right time when we really wanted this medal, because after losing it to Balega in 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games, I felt that we needed to win this medal, or maybe Joshua needed to defend his title. When this race started, in fact, I watched this race standing. I didn't sit any second. So I felt like even pushing him to run even faster. So when he crossed the finishing line, it really felt so good. There is, that pride that comes with winning. And the best part was when the national anthem for Uganda was being played. It really felt so good. I even cried, because it comes with this pride, because everyone stands up for Uganda. I was watching this race with my family and some neighbors who came to watch, and everyone kept shouting, "Joshua go, Joshua go." So it was really, really fun. And when he crossed that finishing line, everyone jumped, including me. I was like, yes, he has done it. There's a moment I felt like I needed to enter maybe the TV and then push Joshua to run even faster. Joshua's win is an inspiration to many. Joshua is that person who inspires to be the best of me every day. He has won a lot of stuff, and myself, I'm like, okay, if Joshua never gave up, I know I can achieve. So it's an inspiration to many Ugandans, not me only, but to many. So when you see Joshua, you feel like, okay, let's do it. I know we can do the best out of it.
Thank you, Olivia. Jamaica's Andre Lowe discusses the podium sweep by his amazing compatriots in the women's 100 meters.
Looking back at the women's 100 meters final at the World Championships in Eugene, Oregon, there was a sense of, I suppose, expectation. It certainly went just about how most Jamaicans, and I think track and field fans across the world, would have expected it to have gone. Very little doubt in anybody's minds that the Jamaican trio of Shelley and Fraser Price, Sherika Jackson, and Elaine Thompson-Herah would have dominated the women's 100 meters in Eugene, like they did at the Tokyo Olympics last year, and like they have been doing all season on the circuit. Shelley and Fraser Price was, for most Jamaicans, the overwhelming favorite, not just because of her likable personality. She's definitely everybody's darling sprinter, but she certainly has been the most consistent. Multiple times in the 10-6 range. Her form has actually improved. It's remarkable that at 35 years old, she is improving in an event that she has been doing for such a long time. She's far more upright in her last phase and showing a lot more strength in that era, which was, of course, her weakest point. Shericka Jackson, just her second year in the event, but continues to show tremendous improvement. Consistently 10-7s now, and I think for most persons, she was in a better shape than Daley Thompson here coming into these championships. Daley Thompson, of course, changing her coach, changing her training environment, now being conditioned by her husband, Darren Hera, and for that reason, I think a lot of persons were, a little skeptical and doubtful of what she could deliver. But I think it was clear to most that she was still better than everybody else except her two countrywomen. So a lot of appreciation, a lot of gratitude and excitement here in Jamaica after that event, particularly because the American men swept the 100 meters, and I think a lot of Jamaicans wanted to respond, so to speak, and thankfully for our sake that happened. I think there's also this tremendous appreciation and recognition of the immense talent and ability of Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, who has managed to stay on top for such a long period and continue to push the boundaries in her event. No doubt in anybody's mind, she is the greatest female sprinter of all time. Of course, the commentary team or the commentator in Eugene did refer to her as the greatest sprinter of all time, male or female. That's up for debate. Most persons would want to point to the fact that a certain Usain Bolt did it in the 100 meters and the 200 meters, plus all those world records as well. So what I will say is that we are certainly grateful that we have no doubt the best female sprinter of all time, no doubt the best male sprinter of all time, and among those two, somewhere there, the best sprinter of all time.
Thank you, Andre. Up next, Chinese journalist Vincent Wu Junquan talks about the last gap victory by long jumper Wang Jianan.
So, to be honest, Wang Jianan's gold medal was kind of unexpected, even for himself. After his competition, we did a small virtual video interview, and he told me that before the last jump, he watched the big screen in the stadium, and he realized that a jump over 8.15 meters would give him a medal. So that was his target for his last jump, over 8.15 and for a medal. As we all know, the jump was quite good, and after he landed, he looked back, he found the flag. Okay, the jump is valid, and he knows the jump was good enough to give him a medal, but even at that moment, he didn't realize that the jump can lift him to the leading position and can give him the gold medal at last. For him, Eugene was quite a special place, because 8 years ago he won the World Junior title here, and now it's the world title, and also it was the home country of his coach, Randy Huntington, so it's very special for him.
Thank you, Vincent. And Venezuela's Andrea Herrera talks about the third consecutive gold for Yulimas Rojas and what it means to her compatriots all over the world.
Hola Ana, un placer hablar contigo y con todos los apasionados del atletismo que siguen tu programa. Encantada de participar, sobre todo con la gran alegría que tenemos los venezolanos que seguimos el atletismo después de esta tercera corona outdoor de Yulimas Rojas, nuestra reina del triple salto. Para mí es particularmente grato ver a Yulimar evolucionar como la gran atleta que es hoy en día. La conocemos desde que tiene 14 años, la hemos visto crecer como atleta, como mujer, como persona y nos parece espectacular el disparo que tuvo su carrera desde el año 2019. Que en esa evolución de Mar Rojas hemos visto fundamentalmente cómo ella ha pasado de ser una atleta casi tímida a ser una atleta muy segura de sí misma, muy llena de energía y muy alegre. A ella la mueve la alegría. Y en cada uno de esos sitios donde hay un venezolano, el día que Yulimar compite, la gente empieza a pedir ávidamente que le envíen el link donde poder ver la competencia. Y Yulimar en ese sentido ha sabido y ha podido aglutinar el cariño de los venezolanos, que sienten que es una de las alegrías, de las pocas alegrías que podemos tener en los últimos tiempos, y que conseguimos a través de Yulimar una identificación con el éxito y con el logro. Saludos a todos los apasionados del atletismo mundial.
Muchas gracias, Andrea. Finally, we have Puerto Rican journalist Wilfredo Torres, who has written books about athletics in the Dominican Republic, and he talks about the country's gold in the mixed relay.
El relevo mixto corto de la República Dominicana tuvo una extraordinaria actuación. Ya anteriormente, dicho relevo había participado en los pasados Juegos Olímpicos, donde lograron conseguir una medalla de plata. En esta ocasión, la buena calidad competitiva de los corredores de 400 metros, tanto en la rama femenil como en la rama varonil, le dieron el éxito. Abrió el relevo Lidio Félix, que había realizado 44.62 en los Juegos Iberoamericanos. Le siguió en gran forma la corredora subcampeona olímpica Marilady Paulino. Marilady Paulino remató en este relevo cuando este año ha realizado 49.20, su mejor marca. En esta prueba siguió República Dominicana con buena actuación, en esta ocasión con Alexander Ogando, que recientemente marcó 20.01 en los 200 metros. Ogando es un fuerte corredor que remata al final y con buen tramo le pasó el batón a su compañera Fiordalisa Cofil. Fiordalisa Cofil, que es la corredora nueva en este relevo, este año realizó 50.62 en los Juegos Iberoamericanos. Muy bien organizado el relevo y sobre todo un relevo con aspiración a ganar una medalla olímpica. Felicitaciones por lo bien organizado que tuvieron esta prueba y sobre todo que en República Dominicana está desarrollando grandes atletas en pruebas de 400 metros y también en la vuelta al óvalo.
Muchas gracias, Wilfredo. So let's look now at upcoming events as we reach the end of our show. And of course, it is still all about the World Championships in Eugene. We're kind of ignoring everything else. We'll be back to other competitions at the beginning of July, of August, first week of August, when things heat up again. So we're now at the end of our program, and it was absolute delight having Jody and Bayo with us on the show.
Well, thank you very much for inviting us. It was an honor to speak to you.
It was great fun. I really enjoyed it a lot, and we could go on talking for hours. And now to everyone, remember that you can enjoy more of their expertise and passion on the Backstreet Boys podcast. So thank you all for watching, and see you next week on Love Athletics to look together at the highlights, comments, and analysis of what's been happening in the last 4 days of this fantastic World Championship in Oregon. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much.